So I've been moving through a lot of anger the past day or two, and I wanted to share about my journey and insights working through anger. And I'm still in this process, but I think moving towards the end of it. And anger is a tough one. It's so intense and consuming, and it often can drive you to do things impulsively that you may regret. In my case, I just really snapped. Like, I haven't felt this angry in a while, and I'm normally very sweet and nice when I'm talking to people. But this time I just snapped and I was like, I'm done with this bullshit, and I left the conversation very angrily, and I just blocked the person on like all platforms, which I normally wouldn't go that far, but I was like pissed off, really pissed off. And so I think the first layer of it is, how do you react to your own anger? And I think for a lot of people who are more of the conflict avoidance type, they don't like to get upset, they don't like to confront people, they don't like upsetting other people. Anger can be an emotion that you really shame within yourself, and you don't want to be angry. And when you do get angry, afterwards you feel embarrassed about it. You feel embarrassed about not keeping it together, and you worry if you're being too much or if you're being too harsh, and maybe you should do something to rectify the situation. So I think the first step was really being okay with the fact that I got super angry and acted the way that I did, because I think that was what was needed in a moment. That fire needed to come out. And giving myself a lot of grace, because if you're on a spiritual path, the thoughts of, oh, I can't believe I lost it like that after I've done all this work on myself, after I've done 21-day meditation retreats, like I can't believe it. But this is so unhelpful, because this is just more shame, and shame doesn't help. Shame is not integration, is pushing these parts of yourself deeper into the darkness and adding more on top of what you're already experiencing. So yeah, the first step, and this part took a long time because I have such a hard time giving myself compassion sometimes, and I really had to just again and again remind myself, like, you reacted that way because you were really hurt and you were trying to protect yourself. Like, the anger was there for a reason, and even if your logical mind thinks that you overreacted or you're being too dramatic, the fact is that it's never too dramatic. It's the precise and the perfect reaction to what, you know, your nervous system, your whole history, your belief system, like everything combined. And with the circumstances, it led to that reaction. You really didn't have a choice in that. And then I think the second step is allowing the anger to move through, express it somehow. I think physical activity is great for this one, like punching a pillow, shadow boxing, stomping the ground, like whatever you feel can really release that energy and move that energy. Like, scream if you can. I'm at a hotel, so I don't want to disturb people. I'm not screaming here, but if I could, I would definitely be screaming. You know, writing a letter to the person that you're angry with, yeah, there are many ways to just let this energy move through. And the third step is looking at what the anger is trying to protect. From my experience, anger is usually a cover-up emotion for something that's deeper, more vulnerable, and that you don't want to feel. And it kind of happens naturally, because when I'm working on anger and expressing that, after a point of doing that, I just reach this feeling of sadness and I just start crying. It's like I don't have the desire to keep punching the pillow or whatever. It just naturally softens into this grief and this tenderness, and I just start to weep, and I let myself weep and go really, really deep in that. And that's what really completes the cycle. Because I noticed if I just release anger, sure, I'll feel better. I'll be a little bit more calm. But 30 minutes later, an hour later, when I think about that person again, when I think about the situation, the anger comes right back. And it becomes like this loop. And I think the reason why you get stuck in this loop is because you don't address the deeper thing, which is that the anger is trying to protect or cover up. So in my case, what I was really hurt about is that I felt what the other person was saying to me was extremely judgmental, and it was like I perceived it as shame and judgment and kind of like grading me and telling me that, oh, you failed as a person because of X, Y, and Z, and this is who you are. And it's also beyond that, like that whatever that person said to me was like the perfect mixture of all of my sore spots. It was like shame, guilt, blaming, abandoning, and yeah, it was just like all of my deepest wounds got triggered by one message. It was just pretty impressive, honestly. And I was just really hurt, and the part of me that resonated with that hurt believes that she's not good enough, that she's not worthy of love, that there's something wrong with her, that she does everything wrong, and that she's bad, yada yada yada. And that was what was really the truth underneath the anger. And in that moment, it was just like, because everything together was so hurtful and so overwhelming that I didn't have the capacity to be that vulnerable in front of him and open up that much then. So the defense is like anger, like, okay, now I'm gonna be angry and blame it on you, it's your fault. And it's so much easier to hate you than to feel all these things. But eventually you have to come back to the truth that we're always creating reality the way that serves our highest evolution. And I created this situation, and even this person in my life I've created. And it's no coincidence that his message is so perfectly designed to hurt all the right places, because it needs to show me like, hey, this is where you're not free, this is where you're holding on to pain. And if you want to become who you said you're gonna become, it has to be integrated, it has to heal. And obviously this is like the last part to the healing, is like when you can really integrate this lesson and truly see this situation as something to be grateful for that's helping you. I'm moving towards that, but right now there's still a lot of like residual resentment and bitterness and blame towards this person, and this desire to point fingers and be like, you're bad and you're mean, you know. And you know, just allowing that as well. Okay, it's a process, and my inner child really wants to be heard, and she wants to be angry. And I just suddenly remember this. In one of the first healing sessions I had with my teacher, she told me, I have this subconscious belief that it's important to be angry because I let people take advantage of me and bully me too much. And it's important for me to like stand up for myself, to activate that fire, and to speak up for myself and stand up for myself when things aren't fair. Like those judgments and labels, they're not fair. And it's like a primal reaction of like, no, you don't get to define me like that. You don't get to judge me. Like, who the fuck you think you are? It can come out in a more polished way and a more calm, more loving way, sure. But right now it's just like the raw expression, the raw truth of like, no, fuck you. That's not true. And I